Okay, we've got a 2-minute warning. Council members, if you turn your mics on, please.
Youth football was finally over.
Oh, bless your heart. I know you're so,
Check, 1, 2.
but I swear I don't hear you mothers doing all that. I know Roberta, her girlfriend, she is mad at her because she doesn't come out there and watch her. She doesn't go out there and watch them.
I hate to ask this question for 4.5 hours and watch them play.
So they watch them for breakfast.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. They are.
they are cute.
They are cute. They are cute. And it's so funny watching them get, like pumped up and it's horrible.
This time of year, and they go out there. And all this.
They're not
I will. I think that will be a point of discussion.
Okay, if I could get everybody to take a seat, we'll get started. All right, beware. Here comes the gavel. Okay, I call the October 14th Town Council meeting to order. We will start by a pledge. We got one in the back. We got one in the back. We'll start with the pledge of the flag, saved by the one in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the previous council meeting on September 9th?
Yes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve those as presented.
Motion.
Got a motion from Russell. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Got a second from Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. The accounts payable, payroll vouchers, monthly bills, adjustments, and cemetery deeds. Look like we all roll all that together. Can I get a motion that we approve these as
I'll make
presented?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, got a motion from Jenny. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Set that too. Thank you. Shoot. We have 2 cemetery deeds. Is this why Alex brought his notary seal?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Rachel, if you want to come up, Commonwealth update.
Does everyone have a copy of this memo? I don't know if it made it in the packet.
Got it electronically.
There's copies here. Here you go.
Oh, we got them. They're here.
And
I don't have a lot to report this month, so I'll just hit the highlights. I put some regulatory update deadline stuff in here too. But as far as the project goes, we're still working through submittals, contractors submitting and purchasing and ordering equipment. We are going to have a construction meeting on the 17th, but they have not started construction yet. They are planning to start construction in mid-November. As long as all goes well with ordering materials, they should be on time. No pay applications this month. Still working on a couple of questions from Damon. Hopefully I'll get answers on those soon. And then a couple of just little updates. We submitted a quarterly update to IDEM for that case at the bottom. We also submitted a quarterly update on the water case. I noted that on the back. Other than that, I just threw some regulatory update dates and stuff in here, but nothing major to report this month. So
The schedule says we're still in the submittal, bond, insurance, mobilization, and line work would start sometime this month.
So I reached out to them to ask. They said that they're going to be closer to the mid-November
Okay.
when they actually mobilize. They are, like I said, they're submitting submittals. We've gotten almost all of them. Then after they get approved, they can order the equipment. And it seems like recently, equipment has just been taking a really long time after you order it, especially electrical stuff. Just
I'm
still
looking at
taking
the
a long
schedule
time.
on the very back of the packet.
Yeah.
is what was
I don't, the
looking
one
at.
I passed out, I don't think had that on it.
Okay.
I just did the 2-page one, so.
Okay. All right, any questions for Rachel? Rest of the board?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, budget hearing. Is this the ordinance or?
Yes.
Yeah, ordinance or resolution? Yeah, 2024-6. I have to open the hearing for public comment.
Recommend after opening it.
Brian, I would like to explain one thing.
Okay.
Because some people may have noticed there is a slight decrease in the printed copy that I put back there compared to last month's printed copy.
Okay.
Because at the time, I had been editing the report and I had held back on MVH operating and I'd only put in 1,000 and then I'd edited it. Well, when I went through all my checks to make sure I did everything correctly, I had edited that one line item after I'd submitted public notice. So I had to bump it back down to 1,000. I think I had it at 8 or 10,000, I can't remember. But last year I had it 12,500 and I knew we didn't spend that much money, so I wanted to decrease it this year, but not by just 1,000 is all that we have in there. So that was too much. So because it was after public notice, next year, after they've approved this budget, I will have to request an additional appropriation if we spend more than $1,000 in that line item. So
Okay.
I did want to explain that because people may notice it is a little less. in the
Does that
printed
show up in the
report.
single page here?
Yeah, what you have here is the correct numbers.
Okay, all right. All right, public comment time on the budget is open. Any questions, comments? Okay. Do I just close the public comment?
Close public comment and ask council members whether they
Okay. Is this something that we pass on one reading here? At
Yes.
this point?
You had the first reading last month.
first reading was last month, so this would be the second reading, so it would pass after.
Okay.
And it has to. After today, we only have 5 more days to submit it.
Okay, so this
have
is
to
for
pass it.
submission to the state. This isn't guaranteed that we'll get what's asked for.
Correct.
This is what
Yeah.
they crunch on and
Yeah.
something comes back.
Typically, normally I get it submitted in September and we hear by Thanksgiving. So I'm guessing by mid-December, we'll hear if they approved it.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion that we approve, I will close the public comment section, and I will entertain a motion that we approve the 2025 budget, ordinance 2024-6.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion from Glenn. Can I get a second? Russell? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. The ordinance passes on second reading here. I heard all the ayes. I can put the check marks in, can I not? Oh, there is a space for all of us to sign here. Sorry. I've already checked your I box for you. All I need
Thank
is
you.
your signature.
Thank you, saves me ink.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is Griffin Shermer, new water accounts at 510 North Range Street. You can spell your last name.
Just don't want to mess
Hello?
I do it all the time.
So I'm Griffin, and it was just a few years ago, I was standing here and we were getting ready to, we had just purchased the community over here off of North Range Street, and now we're kind of in the final phase of it. So we've got all new electrical, new sewer, new gas. We only have one home left to put into there. And I'm kind of in a spot now where we're looking to transition people over to individual water meters. So I just kind of have some general questions and then some things that I wanted to see if the town would work with me on. The first is just, we do have a number of new water lines in there, and we haven't purchased all the meters yet or started installing or doing anything like that. Do you guys know kind of what the process is? Like, who does water testing if we're not like going to a new meter and we just have existing meters but new lines?
There's Damon. Sit in the front.
I guess I'm confused.
Well, so like we talked about putting those jumpers in.
Right. I mean, kind of Rachel, I don't think that was existing. Typically, when you do a new, I don't think, it wouldn't be a new extension. It's already there, right? I don't think you have to have any testing.
Okay.
I think you're in the clear there. I think it'd be more just, all the,
Okay.
and,
I gotcha. I just didn't know if while we were working to put meters in, like if we were able to just start switching people over without the meters, some of the jumpers. That was more my, like, because we could be doing that tomorrow, moving people onto new water lines, but we wouldn't have the meters in place yet, per se.
So it becomes a coordination effort as to when the main meter that serves the entire facility is shut off and the new meters are turned on. Would there be a crossover period of time where you need to have the original meter that serviced the whole facility online, and then that usage should begin to drop down as the new individual new meters are spooled up and brought online?
Yeah,
So there'd be a period of time when you would have both.
probably. Yep. We won't be able to just come in and put all the new meters in at one
Right.
time.
So as long as the meter that is there now that services the entire community, as long as that stays in place until all of the other meters are in place, there's no chance of unmetered water. Even if they do put in a jumper in a meter pit, we've still got the main meter up front. Now, you don't want to pay for things twice. When you put the new meters in, plumbing wise, how does that get subtracted from what flows through the meter that's already there now for the whole facility?
Yeah,
Is that a bookkeeping exercise on our part, or?
I don't know. That's kind of why I'm here too. I didn't know exactly what that would look like because we
Okay.
would potentially have stuff running through that meter and then into everything else while we're transitioning.
You understand what we're asking?
Mm-hmm. But how do we know? I guess we could read that individual meter. Once it's in there and water's running through it, we can read that meter
Then just deduct
and
it.
Deduct it
deduct
off.
it. We'll have to figure out how that would work. We may have to call the programmers for Beacon and see how that would work. But if we could somehow subtract that usage from your usage, that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't want to double bill.
But you'll just have to communicate. Typically, what we do is when they put in that new meter, that family or property owner comes down and signs up for a new account. So you need to have them do that as soon as possible so that we know, okay, here's a new one that we got to watch for.
Mhm. Which that kind of leads me into my next couple questions, which is one, and Damon, you may be able to speak to some of this too. Is there any way the town would be willing to help us purchase the meters and we install them in the community? I don't know what the cost is per meter or anything like that,
And I
but
don't know what the previous agreement was you guys had with the previous board on
There
doing that.
wasn't, none of that had come up yet.
Okay.
As far as meters, how many are you putting in there?
eventually there'll be 38, but we won't, like I said, it won't just be overnight 38. So
Our meter, including meter pit and antenna and everything, my understanding is 275. Does that sound right?
Correct. They've already purchased. They've already purchased. And
So
you
they
have
only
all
need
the centers, the pit, and they've purchased everything.
So we're talking approximately $8,000, what they need to be able to put in all of those meters, not counting the 10 you've already bought. There's a lot of money. Now, typically, when we have a new water customer that signs up for a new meter pit and everything, they do a tap-on fee, which is $1,600 to $1,800, which would cover that cost. So that's the other thing, though, is that when you have a new property owner that comes in with a new water meter, what have you, sewer is a different price, but water itself is at least $1,600 more if they have to bore under a road or anything like that.
So let me ask this. Why did you purchase 10 meters and then stop? Why the change?
well, some of it was just, we haven't decided, and my contractor had a little ahead of me, but we purchased meters because we thought we were just going to individually service everything. But then after talking to our property managers, they were a little bit concerned that, hey, if we do sub-meter everything, that our costs, like for our tenants, because we're trying to keep it as affordable as we can, is going to be really expensive. Because something else that I know, I don't know the exact number, but I know there's a deposit like to turn a meter on or to sign up, which is kind of like, we would love to be able to work something out where, hey, maybe there's not a deposit when we move renters in, but if they don't pay the bill, that the community would pay that bill. We're just trying to keep our costs down as much as we can for our tenants. But we understand too, at least we've heard, people skip out on their bills and you're left with it, which is why you guys have deposits in place or did that in the last few years.
When you speak of community, are you talking about the trailer park?
Yeah, this is, for those in the audience,
Okay.
this is the old Briarwood Trailer Park. Now it's GS Courtyard,
Yeah,
Griffin Shermer. GS Courtyard Community.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about here.
Well, yeah, I know where you're talking about, but I'm talking, he said that he didn't want to cost, the community would have to. What community are you talking about?
Okay.
Community of Westport or community of the trailer park?
His tenants.
Yeah, no, of us.
Okay.
Courtyard Community.
Okay.
Yep.
The fact that he would be buying the meters at cost and installing it and doing all of that saves the customer $1,600 already. If we were signing on with each individual property owner and they were setting up new water in town, with 38 customers, we'd be making over $60,000. So we're already saving them by them not having to pay those tap-on fees. So I'm not sure how you'd want to handle that.
28 more meters are going to be needed. Is that right? Is that what I heard? 38 total?
Yep.
At approximately 275 per. I don't know if we know enough to make a decision on this tonight. I can think of a couple of things. We could say, no, you started buying the meters, you're going to finish buying them. That way we keep the turn-on fees to a minimum of a deposit and a turn-on fee of 200 and,
It's 250, but because they're rentals, we don't charge sewer inspection, so it's 230. My other question though is they already have sewer as well. So we charge them water and sewer deposits, or?
what I'm thinking is if the town has to buy the meters as the customers are turned on, the additional 28 meters are going to have to be somehow prorated across all 38 customers in some kind of a cost burden, cost sharing. But that's me thinking out loud, which gets me in
Sure.
trouble sometimes.
The
Well-
deposit is just to protect the customer. It's their money. So when they pay it, if they do move out of that property, they get that money back. If they go into the hospital and they can't pay their bill and they call in, sometimes we will use that money to cover their bill. So that, the deposit is their money. So it's, if they do pay it, even though it's burdensome upfront, they still get that money. There's that reassurance.
Is there a history of what we have done for others in the past?
I've never, since I've been here, I know in 2017, they increased the water and sewer deposits, and we do payment plans. If someone can't afford to pay the full 200 for water and sewer, because 100 for water, 100 for sewer, if they can't pay that up front, we will work with them on payments. But for tap-on fees, I've never seen that waived, because generally when someone builds a property or builds a new house, that's all built into the total cost of everything that they're doing already. I've never seen that waived, and I do feel like that would open us up to having to waive future ones. I know Roy Saylor has asked if we would not charge when he was building new developments and stuff. So we would have to consider that in the future too.
Yeah, I just want us to be fair and equal to everyone, past and present
Yeah.
and future.
You
My
understand?
concern.
Do you see where we're coming from on that?
I do.
You're opening up a can of worms if we,
I got you.
literally.
Yeah.
And as a small community, that's quite a bit of a burden on us.
If
Sure.
you purchase the additional 28 meters, are you going to pass that cost on to the tenants?
Well, see, that's part of it too. So the whole community is operating as a rental community. So we're paying for everything. And that's kind of like, we just want the threshold for people to come in, they're paying first month's rent, and then there's a security deposit, and now there's a $200 water or sewer tap. And like, it seems like that's in place more to protect the town if something happens to that person and they can't pay that bill.
Yeah,
Well,
and
as
you
she
misspoke a
says-
bit. It is not a
Okay.
tap-on fee.
It's just like the
It's a
electric
deposit.
deposit. Didn't they pay an electric security deposit when they turn on the electric at those mobile homes?
I mean, I don't
I would
think
think
there's an
so.
electric.
So, I mean, most utilities charge some kind of security deposit. So I think the deposit's non-negotiable. I think that's part of your standard for utilities. But the tap-on fee could be negotiable. Because you guys are installing the meter, correct? Our guys aren't having to do it.
That's
So
correct.
that saves us money because part of that 1,600 that we would require of a property owner is we help with installation. Is that correct? So we maybe are saving money on that side of it.
So the barrier to entry would be cheapest for the end user tenant. If you were to continue purchase 28 more meters since you've already started purchasing the 10, I believe the tenant would only be on the hook for the initial deposit. Did I say that right?
Correct. And if it's a burden to them, we will work with them on that.
We have a process in place that
Yeah.
can spread that out over several bills
Gotcha.
if necessary. So if you do want us to purchase the meters, we've got some number crunching and some thinking to do.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
You've already started by doing the 10 and you kind of started a precedent. You're kind of wanting to change midstream. It feels a little odd, but, I share your concern about the barrier to entry, to get into a home there.
Yep. Gotten a lot more expensive since we started it a
Yes,
few years ago.
yes,
So
yes, it has.
we're just trying to push it to the finish line, and any help we can get would be great.
So if you purchasing the 28 additional meters to finish it out isn't going to work, then you'll need to maybe come back again, see us and see what we can work out. I do have office hours at the town hall every Tuesday from 8 to noon. It'll usually be me or one of my board and one of my board members. So you can come in and talk to us about stuff like this. And Damon did give us a heads up a few weeks ago about this very thing. We never came to any conclusion, so. All right?
Okay.
Does that
Thank you.
give you enough to go from?
Yeah.
Go on?
no, Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Andy Shelley was going to come and talk about the drainage study for Roy's first 6 lots. I do not see him. Anybody here to represent him? Okay. We'll move on. Mr. Moore? Floor recognizes you. The chairman recognizes you. The floor is yours. Bid open. No, make the offer and state it. You only sent it to me. You sent it to all the board members.
I forwarded it to everybody.
State it.
There's a couple of things. First of all, I wear 2 hats in town, okay? One of them is Westport Westland. We're having some professional music, bluegrass music there Sunday. If you like bluegrass music, #1 dobro player in America will be there. So you have to come check that out. So that's my Westport Westland hat, okay?
What's a dobro?
A
real quick?
dobro is a guitar they turn on its side and play it like a steel.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So it's the Farmhands. Tim Graves is their guy. You can go look that up. You can find it on our Facebook page. But
I feel cultured now.
yeah, you
I
feel
know what a
cultured.
dobro
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's the type of music that's going to be played at the marriage supper of the Lamb. So I don't know about the rest of you, but
Oh, my goodness.
so the reason I bring that up is because you'll see me here in the next months. Westport Westland's also getting ready to start a building program. Okay? So you'll see me representing the church in that, but you'll also see me representing a company called Four Seasons Realty, which I've owned for about 20 years. Okay, done lots of investment, done lots of building through that. So there's 2 reasons that I'm here tonight, not with the church hat on, but with my Four Seasons Realty hat on. So I try to make those things clear. Okay, this is not a church deal tonight. Okay, the Westport owns 2 lots that I'm interested in. One of them I made a bid on. My understanding, I believe the town had 60 days from the time that they started that. On the 59th day, I went down and put in a bid. You have that lot. You have that, it's right there. Yeah, so it's the lot that they had up for a public bid, and I submitted a bid for that lot. And I'm still waiting on town council to make a decision on that bid. Second lot, what we're going to do there is we're building some duplexes on that lot. Okay, that would be long-term rentals that I personally hold, real estate company. And then the other one is just right down the street from that, where the old natural gas building's at. I actually close on that piece of property tomorrow. And we are going to build some duplexes on there. For it to work right, for it to be a nice development, the city owns the corner. So he'll pull that up there. So what
Right
I'm
here.
purchasing tomorrow is where the building sits and the lot behind it. And what I'm inquiring about from the town is the lot that is right there on the corner. That's actually owned by the town. And that would actually need to come and go into parking for those duplexes to work really nice there. So those are the two things that I have. And I'm open up to any questions from the public or the board.
So the lot here next to the old fire department, the current police department, is that the site of, it was an old beauty shop, wasn't it? It used to be. Yeah, and the previous board purchased it, they tore it down, it is now vacant. We went through the exercise of getting that appraised, it appraised out, and we solicited bids with a reserve of $22,500. And we, was it the previous meeting or 2 meetings ago? I've lost track. Previous meeting, there were no bids that met the 22.5. There were no bids at all that were submitted. Jeff submitted an email to Gloria for 18.5. And I don't know if the town is prepared to vote on that tonight.
And at the last meeting, I'd combed all through legislation or law or whatever it's called to try to find any loopholes. And there's one that said that you could take it for under the appraisal. It didn't explain why, but it said that you could take a lower bid. So that kind of opened that up. And I'd asked about that at the last council meeting, what do we do? But we didn't know because we didn't have any bids at that point.
Was it last Tuesday you came in and
Yeah.
talked to me
Yeah,
and
Michael Russell.
yeah. And I mean, I don't think 18.5 is a lowball offer. I think it's in the ballpark. It's fair.
And we had at least 2 other people interested, and I told Damon to tell them to go ahead and put in bids, but they didn't put anything in.
So we're outside of the 60-day window. We didn't get the appraised value. Now we have an offer. Alex, I don't know if we could go ahead and vote on that offer, or if I should ask for a purchase agreement from the Jeff or his realty company.
I've had visibility on this transaction, and so what I would recommend that the council do this evening is take the bid under advisement.
Okay.
And then I'll shoot an email over to Gloria and try to make sure that I understand the timeline, everything that's been done up until this date, and then I'll be in a better position
Okay.
to provide guidance to council.
Now, Jeff is also interested in this piece of land over here that is not showing up on GIS. It's bordered by the L-shaped properties here. This Richards Family Farm is the old tax office. Prior to that, it was the old gas company.
The problem with that is Harry had tried to quit claim those to the property owners back in 2021. And he was kind of cleaning up all the town properties and getting rid of any little slabs and little pieces that he could find. And we ran into a loophole with this one because it is not surveyed. So there's no original deed and there's no identification or description. So they recommend we survey it, and we've not completed that process as a town.
But now, that is, corner lot was the town square. Each one of the corners right there.
I don't know how good it's showing up on the
Or
TV.
anything, But I think the community needs to know that that was originally.
Yeah, but you can see part of the front yard here of this, this house that Don Loudon has been redoing is part of the town square, that this was the old water tower, and then it jumped cat-a-corner over into this corner here, where it is currently, but you can see there's no blue lines around this original town square, so
We tried really hard with Loudon to be able to figure out how to make that happen so he could get it, but it kept coming back to, we had to have a surveyor, and that was gonna be more than $1,000, which became substantial to the town at that point, so we never pursued it.
Jeff, my question to you is, do these have to be bundled? This lot here along with this piece here? This lot here is ready to go.
Yeah, so no, those don't have to be.
Okay,
Those
okay.
would be two
They
separate projects.
could be handled
Yeah.
in separate,
We would actually build on them over a period of 3 to 4 years,
okay,
both of those projects.
okay. So I'll think we will take it under advisement, and I mentioned I could prorate the acreage or square footage here from the 18.5 bid here as to what this would be and see what an equivalent price would be there, and whether or not the board would be willing to part with it, I don't know. But after Alex has some time to look at this lot here next to the police department, I think maybe by next month, we could be in a position to make a decision.
Problem. Thank you much.
Does that make sense? Okay,
Yeah, there's probably, as far as I've developed a lot of stuff, okay? Westport needs to rethink how they do development. And I'll be speaking into that in the next 10 years. Because I'm actually a guy that wants development to happen. I actually grew up here, so I understand all of the problems that come with development, okay? But when I was here in the 1980s, growing up, do you know how many people lived in town?
not as many as do now. I bet.
1,400. Do you know how much the American population has grown since 1980 to today? Almost 50%. Almost 50%. And Westport's grown, and it all goes back to housing. People will come here and live because we do have something to offer as a small town. I firmly believe that. I mean, I've lived in lots of places, and I came back here, okay? After 25 years, I came back here because this is my hometown. But we've still got only 1,400 people living here because we don't have no other place to live. And the largest developments that we did was in the 1950s and 60s. Those houses are now becoming 100 years old. And we've built very, very little in the last, since 1980. So I am in favor of doing everything that we can do as a town to increase our numbers. Because we actually have more than water to sell. Okay, we actually have more than water to sell because every house that's built has a tax incentive to that. And ultimately, the biggest money that the town makes is when they get their taxes at the end of the year. I don't even know what that is on this budget. But if you look at that number, what they get off taxes and what people's paying in taxes here is a whole lot more than what they're getting off selling water. Okay, so,
Can I
yeah,
ask a question?
yeah.
So when you say development, are you saying development of single-family homes? or-
Single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, any place where people would live.
And I understand that,
Yeah.
but I am not so sure that I'm up for the rentals.
Yeah, well, that's a part of our economy.
I realize it's a part of the
Here and all
economy,
over the United States.
and I realize that we do need some. However, at some point in time in Westport, we got overrun with rentals, and it was not a good thing.
I think it was rentals, in my opinion. I've done this for 25 years. It's rentals that's poorly managed is your
Well,
problem.
yeah. and-
It isn't rentals your problem. It's poorly managed rentals that's your problem.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I've actually got 4 units right over here that I've done in the last year. You would not believe the amount of people that have come to me and said, because my rent's where it needs to be, okay? And you would not believe the amount of people that says, I don't have a place to live. And I want to move back. But most people don't have $200,000, $300,000 to go over here and build a house. So they're going to have a rental. And Westport just needs to view that differently. I'm going to be speaking into that. I don't want to get myself in trouble because I'm also a pastor in town, and that's my number one job. But I also have a heart for this community because I grew up here, right? And if we're going to grow and we're going to do things different, we have to think about it differently.
You are absolutely, have nothing here for anybody to live. The slumlord that happened is trying me out. I agree with you 100% because there is nobody to come home. My daughter has to live. Not great. That's all she can. Oh, Mom, widow. I agree with that.
So if you want to see one of the projects that I've done, 313 East Mulberry Street, okay? When I bought that, I can show you pictures. I crawled in there and it was bad, okay? And we've completely remodeled that. It appraises today for 4 times what I paid for it a year ago. So you say, well, who does that help? Well, it helps me, my company, but it also helps the town of Westport because now what's going to happen? I just got the tax bill on it. Anybody like to know what happened to that tax bill?
Yep.
And guess who is the ultimate people that will get a portion of that?
Renters.
Westport,
Oh,
us.
yeah, we.
Us, right? And so that needs to happen 100 different times in a Westport. There's businesses that will support. I mean, I'm in favor of 200, 300 new families coming here in the next 10 years. And that makes some of you nervous, but we've grown 0 since 1980.
Oh, about 30.
Hmm?
About
Oh, we've
30.
grown maybe 30, yeah. So we've grown 30 people since 1980. There was a point in period of time in about 1990 that we went to 1,500. We just checked that.
2000.
2,000, yeah.
2000 was the year.
Because I
we
went and
had
looked
the
that
most-
up. Said, have we ever grown? There was a period where we grew to 1,500. I mean, we really thought we was doing something. 2,000. So anyway, that's all I got to say. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
I took more time than I should have.
Okay, Gary, step up, sir. I think I've got you up here on the big screen. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gary Froge. I live on 201 West Wiley Street. Getting ready to build a 30 by 40 by 12-foot garage in my backyard. And Gator County Area Plan Office says I need to come to the town, Westport and Water, and get a letter saying it's okay for me to have a bathroom in my garage. So I got to come here and let you guys vote on it, I guess, and sign off on it.
Are you gonna, it doesn't look like you're gonna need any variances.
No, I moved it in, 15 from the back and then 8 from the side. As you
Okay.
see, the side, my north and south, Wiley Street is not square, or Kathleen Drive is not square with Wiley, so
Okay.
it sits at an angle.
Okay,
So I got to go on the top side of my garage, my north side of my garage, is closest to 8 feet.
okay,
And the sewer line's going to run out of the west side, go up to the west side of my house, and come back into the front, where my sewer line is.
okay. So we've done this before, my understanding. Does any of the board members have any questions? Your 15 feet on the back of the
Yes.
lot does not require a variance?
No, no,
Okay,
it's 15 feet from the back side and 8 feet from the west side is the code.
okay,
Are you adding sewer or anything in there?
It'll be coming, yes, it's coming out the west side of my house, going back up to or west side of the garage, go to the west side of my house, and then go back to the east, to my sewer line.
Do we ask that you get a look at it?
Just before you do this, I don't.
There's an existing garage. Now, actually 8 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're moving it towards the house some. Okay. Any other questions? Board members? I think he's got his ducks in a row. I'll make a motion. We approve this and recommend to the area plan that they approve it. A second?
I'll second.
Two of them, whoever you heard first, Glenn or Jenny.
Jenny.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Um,
I also have something else.
When will you be going before area plan?
I've got to get a builder yet.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm not going to do it this, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it done this year, if I can get a builder or not.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I can, I'll get one. I'll get it done this year.
Point being, you don't need your letter tomorrow.
No.
Okay. All right.
I can come, I just got to come down to the water company and get it, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay. And the second thing is, this is, as you guys know, we have water problems up here on Wiley Street. Mrs. Messer across the street, when it rains, the water's almost all the way up to her house. And looking at it last night, walking down the road, and it looks like on 206 Wiley, there's no culvert there. If there is, we can't see anything. It's all buried. I don't know if that's keeping the water from going through on down to the field, but you'll be going out to Roy's new property. I talked to Roy last night, and he said he had no problem with the water coming on his property. He said he'd deal with it. Westport just got to get it there, he said. So I know you guys did studies. I know you had engineers come down, and I don't know where that's at. I think it's been on for about at least 4 years, I believe. He started this. Mr. Messer used to come down here all the time when he passed away.
Was it, I want to say Striegel, but that's not right. Strand in Columbus. Striegel is who's doing our sewer. And I've got a copy of the report, but I have not digested the whole thing, and I don't remember what the conclusion was. But it would be my recommendation for next year that we put some effort into this and put some money in there.
Roy said he had no problem with it because there's like a little hill there right on the edge, right side of Roy's property, next to Christie's property. And that's water goes down in between her little pull off there in the driveway and Roy's property. And that's where the water goes down into that waterway. Roy said if we get it over that hump, and then we'd come back in or maybe do something on the other side. He had no problem getting, he said, because he knows he has to bring it, it has to go out. It's out there somehow. Drove around his property last night and explained everything that was going on, so.
Yep.
But I just want to know, if that project's dead, I mean.
Nope, not dead.
Just checking on it.
New board.
Yeah, I
The
understand.
report is there. We're going to have to digest it. And like I said, it's my recommendation that next year, that's where we put our efforts.
That's fine. That's fine. I just want to, keep it going.
Okay.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay. ARP funds, it says pickleball bid review. Mike, are you prepared to, talk a little bit?
Originally, the Kiwanis Club had put in a grant to be able to refurbish the tennis court The original plans was to resurface and to patch up the area of the tennis court. And the original plan was to be able to use the court as a tennis court and 2 pickleball courts. And that's how I submitted the grant to the Community Foundation, was to do that. In the course of that, things kept growing, and we realized that with the amount of cost, there was no way that we were going to be able to afford to do that. I still have the $10,000 from the Community Foundation. I have been working with a couple other different organizations trying to come up with the money to be able to do this. We think if we go back and just repair the cracks and resurface the coating, and we should be able to reline it for a tennis court and be able to reline it for 2 pickleball courts, one on each side of the tennis net, and then have a couple portable nets for the pickleball. Approximate estimate of where we think that we can do it for is around $31,000. In talking with other agencies trying to come up with funding, they're just asking if the town is going to put anything into it, and if so, how much, then they would make their determination of what they could free up. We just had our barbecue. We don't have the total yet of what we have done with that, so there'll be some funding that we can throw in there from that also. So if you could give me an idea of what you think that you're willing to contribute towards that, that would help. If you decide not to contribute anything at all, we will back up and punt. Basically, we just have to see what we can do, but we're somewhere around 31,000. If we don't do anything, the tennis court is going to get worse with the cracks and stuff that are there, but that's kind of where we're at this point in time. And it would give both individuals the ability to play tennis and or switch it over to pickleball when needed.
So right now, you have secured 10,000 grant from Community Foundation.
Community Foundation. I have talked to Park and Rec, and they have funding that they give each year, they'll allocate each year for either New Point, St. Paul, or Westport, and we just have to ask for it, and we got in there and asked for it. So they were going to look to see how much they had left in that account to apply towards that. And then there's another grant that we're looking at to see if we can come up with some additional funding with it also.
So what they've done now is they've got a bid to make the existing tennis court what I'm going to call dual use. Is that a fair term? And that bid is 31,000.
Is this the only bid? Do we have any other bids from different companies?
We have asked and haven't got anything back yet, so.
So just in talking to Mike, I thought the town could match the 10,000 grant from the Community Foundation. We could put some skin in the game to that tune. Do we want to do $21,200? Or do we look for another partner in the project?
Are you going to get any more bids? Because you still have to have 3, right? For our ordinance?
Yeah, generally going to want to have 3, but you are limited by how many you receive. Goal is generally to try to have 3 dollar amount.
So how does everybody feel without a binding vote about matching the community, the community foundation grant at 10 grand. Does that feel?
Feels good to me.
Okay. Okay. Jenny? Okay. So not a binding vote, but in general, we're in. But I think we would like to see a couple of competitive bids. Who did you put them out to additionally?
It was the same ones that turned bids back in at the last meeting, or the meeting before.
Oh, okay.
All-Star Paving and, was it Amera? Yeah, Amera.
And what kind of a spec was used to get the bid? If I could get a copy of it, All-Star is in town every day. I'll track somebody down.
Okay, I'll get it to you.
Okay,
Estimator will be here.
okay.
I don't know. I think their estimator will be here.
Okay, at the town hall? You may be out walking around or something. Okay,
It's kind of a surprise meeting to me.
okay. Well, I'll be down there at 8. Glenn, you're on tap for office hours tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
May I ask Alex a question? What if we do not get any other bids? What happens?
Yeah, if the specifications are sent out and bid that you get back is the one bid, that's all that you have to work with.
Okay,
That's fine as long as the bid process has been followed.
Which includes public notice through the newspaper, correct?
Well, for this dollar amount, you wouldn't have to do that. That would be more like for projects that are,
I think this is a local ordinance, Gloria, where we, the
Okay.
council, want 3 bids.
yeah.
Can get
Anything
them.
over 3,000, the local ordinance says to do bids.
Okay,
But I didn't know about the public notice. You're
Yeah.
supposed to put it out, open for everybody to bid on it.
No, this is more like when we purchased the truck, whatever it was, I think earlier this year.
Okay.
Damon, I think, came in and back out and re-quotes. So that's the process that we're describing here. We'd really like to see 3 competitive offers on the project using the same specifications for this, at this dollar. But the public works projects where you're talking about over $250,000, for instance, where you have the statutory requirements for that
Well,
bid
anything over
process.
50,000 is considered,
Yeah, so there's
statutory.
different requirements at the different dollar amounts. But for this one, you would just ask for 3 competitive bids.
how patient, how patient is the community foundation willing to be as far as how long they'll wait? By not doing anything right now, we're going to put it off.
I have the
another month.
money.
you have a year. Community Foundation gives
Right.
you a year. to
Okay.
use those
We
grants.
already have the money.
Okay,
But if we're not able to complete the project, the money would be turned back over to the community foundation.
yeah. So, we could get 2 more bids that come in more palatable than the 31.2. And the town portion, would we be willing to go up to 15 grand? I don't know, maybe.
Let me see what we can come up with those other 2.
Right.
My time has not been
Okay,
where I
What's
could do
the,
things, so.
what's the difference between this quote and the one that he quoted earlier that was closer to 40?
that was 4 pickleball courts separately, I
4.
believe.
Okay.
That was for 3, but that involved taking the surface back down, all the way down, whereas this one is going through and cutting where the bad spots are and refilling them, and rather than taking everything back down to gravel.
The high ticket item is the color coding 6,900 square feet for pickleball. That's the big chunk. 25.
And that's like when we do the basketball courts out here, that's the big price. If we just make it black like the street, that's cheaper.
Right.
How long will that last? Because when the Foxes were here, they presented that the tennis court was done incorrectly originally and that it would keep cracking. That's why they were tearing it down to the gravel. So is that still going to be an issue in the future, even if we repair it
I
essentially?
think that was that Mark Horson said. Most
We're not,
buried in the court.
Yeah, they've been
were done
here,
a
but-
little bit wrong, and that's
Yeah.
what caused it. That was me, I think.
No,
Spec sheet, bidding.
yeah,
he's going to get
I'll
it. He's going to get it to us.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay. Luke, I didn't see your name on the agenda. Hang on, before I get to you.
I added, over the weekend, I added him to the agenda that's back there.
It's the
Okay.
Westport
Yeah.
Police.
I did not email that one to
Okay.
you because it was last minute.
All right. Damon, Superintendent of Public Works, report.
I ain't got much. The sidewalk portion of the project's just about done. They should be wrapping that up tomorrow, finishing the wall. The milling started today. Asphalt was originally supposed to start Wednesday, but I caught word today when they called and told me we was having a meeting in the morning that they were going to start paving tomorrow. So, I haven't been able to confirm that with the paving crew, so I hope one thing we straighten out tomorrow is communication. So, cause I said, I wasn't sure wasn't told we was having a meeting tomorrow until this afternoon about 5:30. So I appreciate everybody's patience. I know it's been kind of a headache. The concrete guys got a little bit behind. We're about to wrap it up hopefully by the end of the week. Paving and concrete will all be done. And that'll leave the striping. I don't see the striping being done by the end of the week. Weather kind of turning on us here, but it's good for the deer season, but it's not good for the paint. So hopefully we'll get a few warm days next week and get the painting done and get this one out of the way. Then Rachel can get the ground tore up for the sewer project and have to deal with that. So appreciate everybody's patience and getting through it. So other than that, I don't think I have much. Anybody else have anything for me? Yes, they have done a good job on them. Had to work through quite a few headaches to get them where they're at. Plans, but blueprints, but we got there. So it's been kind of a headache for the daycare and the post office and the pizza place, but
Passed them outside.
few residents, we've had a couple people trip, especially in front of the post office. There was a pretty big step up there. We've tried to keep it blocked off. We've had a couple of elderly folks trip, but to get through it, but did it.
Now, there's not going to be any parking on south, going out of town, right? From past Barb's Babes on down, right?
That's east, you mean? On the,
Oh, yeah,
on the
east.
south side of the road, east of town?
South side of the road, east.
No, there's several people upset about that, but that was not just passed. That's actually been an ordinance that was passed, years ago.
Well, I just noticed in front of the one house that had stopped me and asked me questions about why they couldn't park there. Somebody's been pulling in there and,
Well, I think the construction guys has,
Okay.
after we filled in with dirt, we filled it in and seeded it. When we have some more to fill in, once the paving's done, and once they started driving on it, that's when I was like, I'm gonna wait till they're done paving, then we'll go in and fill it back in and reseed
Okay.
it instead of having to do it twice. But we did, they left the furthest part east alone, so it looks pretty decent. We got it done and seeded, but on up where they're doing the wall, they just kept parking there, so we just left it alone until they're done, and me and the guys will go in and we'll fill it in with dirt and fill it back up and reseed it. But yeah, that's always been no parking from the daycare east to East Street. Has always been no parking, but just over the years, people started parking there and no one ever said anything to stop it, but we decided with all the money the town and grant is spending that force it. And, they got parking out back, so it was time with the new sidewalks and stuff, it was time to enforce it, and that's what we're going to do. So yes, that is no parking.
Okay.
Else have anything? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Luke?
So the police department, the tasers we have now are becoming outdated. Most departments, there's been 2 of them that came out since we've had the ones we currently have. And the departments around us are moving on to most places, the Taser 10, which is the newest one. And talking with Axon, who is the only supplier for this, they said the current ones we have, they couldn't give me exactly, but they said approximately 2026, they will no longer even make that taser. So they're completely going away with the current one we have. They couldn't give me exactly, but he said 2026. So that's going to make it hard for us. The issue we have is going to training. The sheriff's department, who we do almost all our training with, is going with the Taser 10 starting next year in 2025. And we won't be able to train with them because their certified instructors won't be certified in the X26P, which is the taser we currently carry. So I have a quote for the town board on, it's almost like a lease bundle through Axon, through Taser. And without having to pay tax, the quote I was given was $9,748.80. I have the paper here, the quote. I know I sent it to you, Brian, and I have the quote here as well.
Give me that number again.
$9,748.80. If we keep the ones we have now, Joe or I would have to take a training to recertify, or we won't be able to carry tasers. It's pretty much where we're at. The
If we go to
departments
the
in
new
area,
ones that everybody else is using, we can train with
we will be
Greensburg.
continue to train with the sheriff's department, which we do
Sheriff's
95% of our training with. Sometimes we do with Greensburg, but not very often. But in 2026, the ones we have now will be no good. So that's where we're at. In this bundle, they literally cover everything. The tasers, training cartridges, the duty cartridges.
Is that 2 tasers?
That is, yep, and all the equipment's needed. So that also covers if something were to break, have issues with the taser, they'll cover it. A holster, it breaks, issues with the holster, they cover all of it. But the
Is that
price
a
is,
one-time fee? Is that an annual fee?
that is broke up over 5 years, a 5-year plan, 60 months, 5 years.
And we pay that $9,748.80 every year, or we prorate it? Oh, I see it. There we go. Thank you.
So we could pay it all at one time, or we can pay it out yearly, which
Can be spread out.
yes, I think yearly that would make it $1,949.76 every single year.
Is there a discount if you pay it all at once?
I don't know for sure. In talking with Axon, they will buy the old back, but of course they only give you, I think it was 5%. They're going away with it. I'm surprised they're even giving anything for the old ones.
I looked at that, but I couldn't tell. It didn't seem like it mattered whether you paid it per year, if you pay it all at once. I don't see,
There's an unbundled price.
it was
And then
more.
a-
Which is
yeah.
going to be more. I don't.
Right.
It was. I don't know what the unbundled price was.
$16,467.73, it looks like.
Well, they continue maintaining them for 5 or 6 years if you paid it all at once.
Yeah. Since this is public safety, would this fall under a proper use of ARP funds?
It is, but we have plenty under public safety or in the general fund that's budgeted. So it's not a difficulty for our budget. Either way, we went with it. But the only thing I would question is it cheaper to pay them all up front for the full contract or whatever, and will they still maintenance? Because I remember at one point, Luke, you were saying, if we pay this every year, they'll maintenance them. If there's any issues, they take care of it all along. So it's almost like you're in a maintenance plan as well, which sounds pretty decent to me compared to us just buying them and then we're stuck with what we got.
Yeah. So they have a site that we use, evidence.com is what it's called. Every 6 months, we have to update our teasers into that site so they can draw data from it to see usage and see if they're properly used, turned on and tested pretty much.
But we could, I mean, if you wanted to buy it all this year, as long as we spend it this year, we could use ARP.
The rest of my board members think, I don't think that would am I still on? There we go. I don't think that would impact our ability to support the pickleball, but I think this is a good upgrade for the department. It gets us back up to latest and greatest with the times.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay if we want to make a motion to approve the $9,748.80 and leave it to the discretion of you, Gloria, as to where it comes out of, whatever makes the most sense.
I make that motion.
Okay, so we got a motion.
Is this paying it all up front or doing the yearly thing? What are we motioning for?
I'd like to pay it all up front.
Motion would be all up front.
Mr. Chair, I do have a clarifying question.
Yes, sir.
Does this need to be appropriated, Gloria? Or is
Yeah.
this-
If it's ARP, we'll have to appropriate it. If it's out of the regular budget, I'll have to look and see how much we spent in equipment this year in the police department, because I don't know offhand. We may have enough to just
That mean
pull
we
it out
may
of
have
that.
an ordinance or two in the next meeting
Yeah,
or so.
We may need to vote on this over 2 meetings.
Okay,
But we only have 2 months left. So also keep that in mind. We've got November and December, so we're running out of time on
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
The ARP money is already appropriated, so it's already available. If we need additional public safety money, we'll have to appropriate it, which I think we would if we pulled it out of public safety. We need to check into the maintenance part of it probably, make sure, because that was my only concern was, will they continue maintaining it if we pay it all up front, or is that an additional cost?
That'd be my only concern was pay it up front, then might sort of forget your maintenance.
he did say they have to relog their tasers every 6 months on
About
their
2 times a year,
website.
yeah.
But just get us a final answer on the maintenance on that.
What
So
is the
tomo-
difference between paying up front and doing the 5-year payment? Like what
Just
what
the
is-
price difference.
Well, but what?
It's all bundled together either way. What's your question?
With the maintenance thing, so,
So that,
Is
my
there-
understanding with talking with them is that they cover everything. So whatever we need cartridges from that time, for testing, which we go through 2 a year, each officer, so there's 4 a year. And on our old ones, those are $50 each, just for those. So I don't really,
so they cover,
they,
so
they,
then
they
would
cover,
cover
it. What do we
that.
need? It's all covered. They cover everything. If something breaks on our end, it's covered. It's all in the bundle.
I didn't see a price difference. I don't know if you do go back to them, if you propose you're paying it all at once, if it would be any cheaper, because that's just that's the maintenance agreement, leasing. And I didn't see the other, if there is another price for it.
Yeah, the 1949.76 is 9,748.80 divided by 5. Straight up.
I just want to make sure there's no differences in services between the two. That's my only concern.
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the floor, and I think a second would be in order to have all this discussion.
Okay? I will second. So how do we do this as far as getting the I dotted and the T's crossed to make sure that this all includes
Yeah, I think the only
maintenance?
But Well, one of the things that you could do is you could pay for it out of public safety and treat this as first reading, and then make sure and ask Luke maybe to answer, make sure that those questions are answered between now and the second reading, and then that information can be provided to the council at the second reading, and if that's satisfactory, then you could pass the ordinance on second reading. I think the only distinction there is which pot of money it's paid out of. If it's paid out of public safety, then require the second reading. If it was paid out of ARP funds, you would pass it on one reading. They may make the decision just to pass it, use the public safety monies for the reason that there's some additional information that you'd like to have. So you could pass it on first reading today, and then have a second reading next month on the ordinance. And Luke could come back with some of those questions answered.
The only
Does that
thing
make
is
sense?
I will have to check into public safety to make sure we have enough to be able to ask for an additional appropriation, because we cut public safety this year. We already did a reduction of public safety a couple meetings back. The general budget is what I want to double check and make sure there may just be funding there where we haven't spent, because usually we budget about 15,000 in equipment. Actually,
How long is this quote good for, Luke?
This quote is actually expired now.
Okay, I see it, 9:30.
Just, what, a week ago now?
Yeah,
So getting a new one, I'm sure it's going to be the same price until we get to 2025.
we have 15,000 in PD operating supplies, but I don't know how much we've spent out of that, and that's just in the general budget. So we may not even need any additional appropriations if we can pay it out of the general.
so it sounds like if we were to bring this back in the November meeting, we would still have time to either take it out of ARP, find out where is best to take it from, and you get the answer on the warranty or the maintenance agreement to make sure that's all included, if for 4 or 5 years, if we pay this all up front.
Yeah. And to my understanding, it is.
Can you withdraw a motion, or would we recommend the motion fail?
I want to see it fail.
Okay.
We haven't
So-
had one for a while,
Yeah.
so.
So-
No,
I've never
no,
had
no,
one.
no, I'm serious. I'll withdraw the motion,
Okay,
but you need, yeah. Yeah, I'll withdraw the motion.
okay, the motion is withdrawn about voting on this tonight. But I think we have a plan moving forward. We'll figure out where the money's going to come from next month and find out if we're covered for 5 years.
Okay, so then
Pay it
next
all.
month it can be passed in one voting then, to my understanding?
Likely,
Okay,
depends. Even then, we've still got December to do a second
No,
reading.
no.
We could suspend the rules and do, could we not?
No, because it's spending, but if it's
Okay.
already appropriated funds, then it could be it could.
If we decide it's ARP or general budget, we will be fine
Okay,
instead. But if it is public safety,
okay. So 2 out of our 3 options, we can do it next month.
okay.
Okay?
Why don't we just take it out of ARP money? It's already appropriated. Why don't we just do that? Get it over with. Boom.
That's probably going to be the default for next month. That's the most easy path
So
forward.
when would you have access to this if we said, go for it, Luke?
I can send them an email tonight. Sure, they won't answer till tomorrow. Or I
Yeah,
can,
that's what I'm
I
saying.
can
If
call
it's
our
already
new
past
rep
due,
and talk with him.
Don't we need to get,
He'll just have to request a new quote,
I'll-
and he
I'll
said
just
the
get a new
prices
quote.
probably aren't going to change until next year.
Until 2025.
Chances are this isn't going to go up.
oh, you don't
Between
want
now-
them now, huh?
No, I'd say it's definitely needed, because 2026
Well, that's what I'm
comes
saying.
and we'll be in trouble, and then Joe or I have to go through the class to get certified just to take our own training
Yeah,
for
one more
2
month
years.
isn't going to sink the project.
Oh, come on, Brian.
Okay.
Talk.
We got to make sure that we have all the ducks in a
Well,
row. So,
yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a yes. We just got to get our ducks in a
Right,
row.
right. And the motion to vote on it
Get
tonight
them
is
killed
withdrawn,
before it's
so I'm okay with that.
but I'll be making the motion next month.
I'll be watching for it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for us?
Main Street speed limit, I get asked all the time why Main Street starts at 30 and then becomes a 20.
Because of the park?
That's what I tell them, and then they say all the way at the other end of Main Street, you come in and it's 20.
Because of
Several
the
people.
Daycare, I would assume.
Several people in the community just asked if we could make it one set speed limit from. I mean, no matter what the speed is, nobody's gonna follow it, but
Tell them, whoever is asking, whoever is asking, tell them to come to a council meeting and voice their concerns or their opinion.
well, I just thought I would bring it up and ask, I guess, if we could make it all turn on to Main Street 20 coming in.
They don't come off the highway.
Yeah.
But then people don't see the 30-mile-an-hour sign and wait till they see a speed sign flashing to slow down.
Well, if they don't see the 30, they're not gonna see it. I mean,
I'm saying that
Six to one.
I'm saying the sign change where it says reduce speed
Oh,
until the 20.
yeah. Yeah, that'll make lots of people happy.
Yeah.
I would like to see somebody from the audience or from the community, tell us why they want the speed limits changed. Unless you,
Okay.
from a public safety manner, would like to see things changed, and I'd like that in the form of a formal request.
Okay,
Okay?
that
You've got
works.
an idea of what we should do, then
Sure.
put it in writing and we'll take a look at it.
All right.
All right. That exhausts our agenda. So I will open it up to public comment for, the 3 minutes is in force. Step up here to the microphone and introduce yourself. And you have 3 minutes.
I'm Becky Creech. I live here in Westport, right beside Mike's Casper. And we have on my sidewalk there, has been there since we've moved there 40 years ago. Part of that sidewalk needs to be taken up and fixed because we have people walking from the funeral home down by the house and around. That's normal. If they fall, I've been told, if they fall on that sidewalk, I'm not responsible for it. And if that's true, I'd like to know who's responsible because Diane, take care of Diane Powers. She fell in front of the post office. She took a pretty bad fall. And I think what we want to know is who is responsible. Is the town of Westport, if she wanted to sue somebody, who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for my sidewalk?
I think I have found you, Becky. Let's see here. Where is she talking?
So is this the sidewalk in front of your house or the one at the post office that we're talking about?
We're going to talk about both. One
Okay,
in
so
front
it's
of my
two-
house.
It's two
Yeah.
separate things. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a sidewalk on the west side of her house, and that is Northeast Street. That is just north of the funeral home. If I've got all my directions correct. So this is your property here. I've got highlighted on the screen. You can see there is a sidewalk there. It does appear to be in the town right of way. I don't know that we're going to be able to answer your question tonight. And if somebody falls on the sidewalk in front of the post office, I think it depends on where. So are we, has she been injured? Or is there
Well,
something?
she
that-
got her mouth busted. She's disabled. I mean, she's paralyzed on the left side. And the people at the post office just like, no freaking big deal. Didn't even go out to help her. She had to walk in. Some lady helped her. And asked for a Kleenex because she was bleeding all over.
When did this happen?
Mine was Friday. Yeah. Because it might have been Wednesday. Because, Friday?
It was last.
Okay, it's either,
Last Wednesday.
yeah. Because that's the only way she could go up. And I think all she was wanting was some help or an apology or somebody check on her. Because she's a widow and she's by herself. So I think the people at the post office or the town of Westport should, check on people when they're disabled and they live by themselves. And then I want to know if somebody falls in front of my house, can they sue me? You got a lawyer sitting here, he could answer that.
Well, anybody can sue anybody for anything.
Then why is
And-
everybody
and your-
told something
Your
different?
3 minutes is up. So we need to take this under advisement. Gloria, did you capture this as a question? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Diane, were you the one that was injured? Okay. You want to come up?
Oh, I've been part of Westport most all my life.
Your
And-
maiden name is Oliver, isn't it?
Pardon?
You're Diane Oliver, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember you.
Uh-huh. And I lived here when I had my stroke and all this stuff happened to me. But I couldn't understand why there at the post office, I didn't check my mail because I knew I was afraid of falling. I hope I don't start crying. I'm very sensitive. I love everybody. I didn't check my mail because I was afraid of falling for several days because of the sidewalk. And they're working clear down by my house on that wall and didn't have that finished. And I'm like, why? I had to pay a bill. I don't like to be late on my bills. So finally, I went to the post office. And I fell. And that really upsets me and it's embarrassing. I'm on blood thinner. I was bleeding. I walk in the post office. And the first thing the lady says to me, "We're not responsible." I said, "I just want some Kleenexes, please." And then
Ryan,
she gave me some Kleenexes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did want to fill you guys in that they talked to us a little bit about
I
that.
can't hear.
And we recommended that they file a claim with the post office as far as how that was handled, as far as the customer service side of it, because there was a lot of concern about that.
Okay, continue.
Sorry.
And I just wanted, anyway, a friend that I know helped me and to help me get back out to my car, her and some gentleman. And he just had one leg. And I set my car until I got the bleeding to stop. And then I went to Becky's, because Becky helps me. I thought Becky will get me cleaned up. I had blood on my shirt. Then after Becky gets me done, I go home. I go from my back door straight to my front door where they're working out there. I said, "I'd like to speak to somebody." And it was one of the cops. He was very nice. And I said, "I just want to know why they're working down here and they don't have that finished up there." I couldn't understand that. And it was something about, he replied with something like the cement, they wanted to wait until they got everything done and then bring the cement in. He said, "We're planning on having it done by Monday," which is today. It was fixed the very next day. And I just don't understand why it was left like that for so long in front of a public building that a lot of people go to.
Okay, your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, I can't
Thank
hear
you.
very well, so.
We, I can discuss this with Russell a little bit, or Glenn a little bit tomorrow at our office hours to find out, how everything went down. Who typically gets your mail? Who gets your mail? Do you do it
I do it.
all the time?
I'm very independent, as
Okay,
much as I can
okay.
possibly be. I don't like to have to, and I don't like to complain.
Yeah,
Becky comes in and she helps me with my house.
okay.
Brian,
Damon?
can I touch base on this a little bit? I was the
Okay.
one you spoke to
Okay,
that day.
all
So
right.
it-
I was
it's-
thinking,
so
but I wasn't
it's,
sure.
It's ex-cop. So that's probably where you remember me from. So after I found out it was her, I was out there and I did speak to her. So I was explaining to her where she was getting the part where once the concrete was says, I was trying to explain to her how once all the concrete was done, they was going to come back and pave the roads. I was just kind of explaining to her how construction went. And I did offer to her that anytime she needed to go to the
Yes.
post office to get a hold of me or to get a hold of Joyce, and I would meet her down here, and if she was okay with it, Joyce could give her my mail, give me her mail, and I would walk it out to her. If she had stuff to mail, I would
Yes.
walk it in for her. Basically just offering her, whatever services I could do for us. That way she wouldn't have to get out of her car. So we had a very good conversation.
Yes.
I thought it went well, but I was the one you spoke to,
Okay.
so.
I thought you was, but you're not shaved.
Yeah, well, no, I was up. I was gonna go hunting this morning. That didn't work out for me. I got
Okay.
called into work, but I was the one you spoke to, so,
Thank you for
yeah,
standing up.
so, no, that's okay. So yeah, that's where you're getting, got all that from, but no,
Yes.
we had a good conversation there. I think everything worked out for us, but, but yeah, so.
And then
if you need-
they had that fixed the next day.
Well, I went down there and coned it off that day, so nobody else was, would try to step up on that. 'Cause They took the cones down. I went back down there and put them back up, so nobody else would, try to step up on
Very,
them.
very dangerous.
But no, we should about have it wrapped up this week.
It
so,
looks good.
Yeah. Getting there.
I
just,
think what
I got-
Gloria was saying from a customer service perspective, that you could probably put in a complaint. It wouldn't be any kind of litigation, but you could put in a comment
She already
on the
has.
treatment that you got at the post office. Then that's already been done. Okay,
Her daughter done it.
okay, all right.
Yes,
So-
my daughter's very upset, but her husband's got cancer and she's not able to, she wanted to come tonight, which is probably a good thing that she didn't.
Well, the best solution is what Damon did. That find somebody in the community that can get your mail
I'll pick
during
up
this
her mail from
project.
Now on.
Okay.
And like I said, I think all she was asking was,
Yeah.
for help.
Yeah. Okay,
What that day?
thank you.
I see.
All right. Anything else? 8:00. I will entertain a motion
Hold on.
to,
What's the total amount? Just, it doesn't have to be exact dollars and cents, but what's the total amount that you guys have already voted on from the ARP funds? We've already done sidewalks
You
and,
can probably tell me better than I can right now, because you have it wrote down, don't you?
well, I thought I had written down 30,000 for flooring, 35,140 for the sidewalks from
I know
range,
the-
18,000 for 3 fire hydrants, 18,000 for labor, and then another 21,618.45 for the sidewalks down there. I was just kind of wondering, like ballpark, what you think we have
On the
left?
front of your agenda, the ballpark amount is the 53,813.78.
So that's already
That's-
taken in consideration, all those things like the sidewalks and all that.
Now, we just got the invoices on the fire hydrants, but I still am not for sure on installation, so that's still up in the air. It's approximate right now. The invoices for the sidewalks have not come in yet, as far as I know. I don't think they have, because we haven't finished the project. Usually it all will be at once.
Mhm.
But there's a lot pending, but
Okay.
estimate wise, that 53,813 is what we have left.
And then the $10,000 that we were talking about for the pickleball courts, the roughly
Come out of that.
$10,000 for the tasers would then bring that down to 30,
20, yeah, 20
whatever.
or 30, yeah.
Okay, that's what, I didn't know if
Yeah.
that 58 was kind of what you thought we had left, or if by doing these two things today, we were getting down to almost nothing, so.
No, there's still, that 53,000 is what we have as of today. We just voted, the things we voted on today, you would subtract from that.
Subtract from that.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, anything else? Going once, going twice. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn? Russell, can I get a second?
Second.
Jenny? All those in favor of adjourning, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.